Good morning. I'm the Reverend Diane Daugert. My pronouns are she and her, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville. Whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. On Sunday mornings, we bring our whole selves, our many ways of naming the divine, our diverse spiritual paths, and join together in a time of worship. As Unitarian Universalists, we don't share a common creed, but we do share a common covenant. A covenant that affirms our interdependence and encourages our work for justice. We are a welcoming congregation, and together we deepen our relationships by serving our congregation's mission to create community, nurture spiritual growth, and act on our values in the broader world, guided by compassion and reason. Today's service is dedicated to honoring our transgender and non-binary siblings and to remembering the transgender and non-binary lives that have been taken from us by violence, by anti-trans violence this past year. Today's service was created collaboratively with our congregation's trans-affirming collective. You'll be hearing reflections from some of them later in the service. I would like to extend a special welcome to anyone who may be visiting with us this morning. If you would like to learn more about our congregation and how to become involved in the life of this congregation, you can reach out to our student minister, Danielle Garrett. Her contact information is on the church website. And if you are with us live on Zoom this morning, and if you are comfortable doing so, I invite you to let us know that you are here using the chat. We love knowing who is with us on this journey. No matter what platform you are using to join us for worship today, you can find useful information such as ways to give and faith formation resources for all ages by going to the worship portal on our website, firstuunash.org. We are so glad you have joined us for worship.
Good morning. I'm Gail Spar, and my preferred pronouns are she, her. I'm sitting in today for our Director of Music Ministries, Jay Tiefenbrunn, who is on vacation. We open our service today with Libby Roderick's song, How Could Anyone? This song has been sung around the world, in prisons, at protests, in living rooms, and around campfires. Joining Jay in leading our singing today are voices from Washington, Diane from North Lake UU, and Mavis from Whidbey Island, and accompanied by Maria Cavan, the pianist at North Lake. Won't you join in the singing?
How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle, and how deeply you're connected to my soul? How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were loved? and how deeply you're connected to my soul.
Good morning. I'm Richard Bird. My pronouns are he, him, and I am the chair of the Stewardship Committee. The words for the call to worship today were written by Sharon Wiley. We speak so often of brokenness in religious life. Let us speak today of wholeness. You are welcome here, all of you, every part of you, beautiful just the way you are. Here you do not need to be something more or something less. No holding back, no hiding, no exerting yourself, no trying to do more or be more. You have inherent worth and dignity. Nothing to prove here, nothing to prove to me or the person sitting next to you or to the children or to anyone. You don't have to try and be witty or more quiet or more outgoing. You are beautiful. Every part of you, beautiful just the way you are. You do not need to change anything about yourself unless you choose. You do not need to change anything about yourself to be welcome here. Your skin, your hair, your belly, your limbs, your face, all beautiful, just the way they are. You are extraordinary. Each and every one of you different from each and beautiful in your own beautiful way. Breathtaking. Let us worship together.
I use she, her pronouns. I'm a member of Fun's Trans Affirming Collective. Our chalice lighting this morning is from Something That May Shock and Discredit You by Daniel M. Ortberg, a queer trans writer. God blessed me by making me transsexual. For the same reason, God made wheat, but not bread, and fruit, but not wine, so that humanity might share in the act of creation.
Good morning. My name is River Plummer. I use he, they pronouns, and I am a member of the Trans Affirming Collective and of the Larger Faith Committee. Today, our story for all ages is one we've read before at church, 10,000 Dresses by Marcus Ewart from 2008. Every night, Bailey dreamed about dresses. A long staircase led to a red Valentine castle. On each stair was a brand new dress, just waiting to be tried on. 10,000 dresses in all, and each one different. The first dress was made of crystals. When Bailey slipped the dress on, the crystals clinked against each other like millions of tiny bells. And when sunlight hit the dress just right, rainbows jumped out. With all her heart, Bailey loved the dress made of crystals that flashed rainbows in the sun. When Bailey woke up, she went to find Mother. "Mom, I dreamt about a dress," said Bailey. "Uh-huh," said her mother. "A dress made of crystals that flash rainbows in the sun." "Uh-huh. And I was wondering if you would buy me a dress like that?" "Bailey, what are you talking about? You're a boy. Boys don't wear dresses." "But I don't feel like a boy," Bailey said. "Well, you are one, Bailey, and that's that. Now go away and don't mention dresses again." Bailey went to her room. Now she would never have a dress made of crystals that flashed rainbows in the sun. That night, Bailey walked right past the crystal dress and went to the second stair. There was a dress made of lilies and roses. When she slipped it on, she saw that the sleeves were made of honeysuckles. Bailey picked a few of the blossoms to taste the little drops of honey. With all her heart, Bailey loved the dress made of lilies and roses with honeysuckle sleeves. Bailey woke up and went to find Father. He was in the backyard pulling up weeds. "Dad, I dreamt about a dress," Bailey said. "Uh-huh," said her father. "A dress made of lilies and roses with honeysuckle sleeves." "Uh-huh." and I was wondering if you could grow me a dress like that. Bailey, what are you talking about? You're a boy. Boys don't wear dresses. But I don't feel like a boy, she said. Well, you are one, Bailey, and that's that. Now go away and don't mention dresses again. Bailey went to her room. Now she would never have a dress made of lilies and roses with honeysuckle sleeves. That night, Bailey walked right past the crystal dress and the dress made of lilies and roses and went to the third stair. There was a dress made of windows. One window showed the Great Wall of China, and another the pyramids. With all her heart, Bailey loved the dress made of windows that showed the Great Wall of China and the pyramids. Bailey woke up and went to find her brother. He was playing soccer with some kids. I dreamt about a dress, she told him. A dress made of windows which showed the Great Wall of China and the pyramids. You dream about dresses, Bailey? That's gross. You're a boy. But, Bailey said. But nothing. Get out of here before I kick you. Bailey ran and ran. She ran all the way to the end of the block until she came to a house with a big blue porch. An older girl was sitting there with needles and thread and old sheets. What are you doing? Bailey asked. Making dresses, said the big girl. But it's really hard. Mine come out all looking the same. Maybe I can help, said Bailey. Bailey told Laurel, the big girl, about the dress made out of windows, which showed the Great Wall of China and the pyramids. That's awesome, said Laurel, but how do we make a dress out of windows? We'll use old mirrors instead, said Bailey. Together, the girls made 2 new dresses, which were covered with mirrors of all shapes and sizes. These dresses don't show us the Great Wall of China or the pyramids, said Laurel. No, but they do show us ourselves, said Bailey. You're the coolest girl I've ever met, Bailey, said Laurel. Hey, do you think you can dream up any more dresses? Bailey grinned. I think I can dream up 10,000.
My name is Julie Noland. I've been a member for 18 years, and I want to talk about why I continue to support the church with my time and finances as a member. In this difficult time, I have been becoming more aware of the church, the First UU Church in Nashville, as a mother tree. Some of you may have read the amazing book by Susan Simard about that, sort of talking about this new understanding of forests and how underneath the ground in forests there's all these this reciprocal interdependence, even across species, and within species there's mother trees, which through their deep roots support other trees. And so just this revolution to understand that interdependence is something that we deeply can connect to and feel. I appreciate this church because it's helped me practice cooperation and shared goals with other people in important ways. And because the church itself plays a role in Nashville, in the history of Nashville, in the way it's supported, been the foundational for supporting Nashville in Harmony, the preschools that it started, just the NOAA, and then its position within the whole UUA and supporting Project Safe and the changes that have come to make both our denomination and other denominations safer against sexual misconduct by religious leaders. It's something that the Buddhist lineage I sit with has struggled with, and I felt like what I learned here really helped me understand and advocate for change there. So First UU for me represents that deeply rooted mother tree where through the connections it has throughout Nashville and is helping us sustain and make our way through this epidemic.
You may know that we share every Sunday's collection with an organization whose work outside our walls aligns with our values. Our Share the Plate partner for the month of November is The Store, a year-round free grocery store that allows people to shop for their basic needs, offers cooking and nutrition classes, and aims to address food insecurity in the Nashville area through community partnerships and programming. You can learn more in the worship portal at firstuunash.org, where you can also find the link to our online donation form. The offering is a sacrament of the Free Church. It is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who join with us. As always, your gifts, like your presence among us, are received with gratitude.
Our offertory anthem this morning speaks to our embrace of all our siblings, however they define themselves. Child of God was composed by Mark A. Miller and dedicated to his 5 godsons. The powerful words of affirmation are sung to a soulful, rhythmic swing. Mark Miller had, I'm sure, his own concept of God as he wrote this, and I invite you to call up your idea of the divine, the infinite, the mystery, as the fun choir, accompanied by collaborative pianist Holling Smith-Bourne, sings this beautiful anthem.
No matter what people say,
Today, when the season's holidays and holy days collide with world events and bring us to a complicated intersection, when Transgender Day of Remembrance follows on the heels of an unjust verdict, when the Thanksgiving holiday looms large on the horizon, a holiday which is itself complex, we pause to sort through our complicated feelings. Rage and despair at unrelenting injustice, sorrow and grief for those lost to anti-trans violence, deep ambiguity about a holiday rooted in a false narrative, one that nonetheless calls us to expressions of gratitude. As we pause at this intersection, may we not sink into resignation, but rise with the courage and conviction to join our hearts and hands to nurture the day when every space is open and safe and welcoming to all persons of color and to every trans and non-binary person. Yesterday was Transgender Day of Remembrance, established in 1999 by transgender advocate Gwendolyn Ann Smith to highlight the losses faced due to transgender bigotry and violence. We pause today to remember and lift up the names of those who died by violence this year. This has been the deadliest year on record for transgender and non-binary people. The deadliest year since tracking began in 2013. Of the 46 who died this year, 29 were Black and 18 were Latinx. 2/3 were Black women, and 60% of these deaths involved a firearm. May those whose name we speak today, may their memory be a blessing. Tiana Alexander, Samuel Edmund Damian Valentine, Bianca Bonks, Dominique Jackson, 50 Brands, Alexis Braxton, China Carrillo, Kyrie Sanders, Jeffrey Bright, Jasmine Kennedy, Jenna Franks, Rayana Pardo, Jada Peterson, Dominique Luscious, Rami Fennell, Tiara Banks, Natalia Smut, Iris Santos, Tiffany Thomas, Carrie Washington, Jahira D'Alto, Whispering Wind Bear Spirit, Sophie Vasquez, Danica Henson, Serenity Hollis, Oliver Taylor, Thomas Harden, Poe Black, E.J. Boykin, Taya Ashton, Shay Vanderpump, Tierra Marie Lewis, Miss Coco, Pooh Johnson, Desea Monet, Brianna Hamilton, Kier Laprie Cartier, Mel Groves, Royal Poetical Stars, Zoella Rose Martinez, Joe Acker, Jesse Hart, Ricky Automuro, Marquisha Lawrence, and Jenny De Leon. May we honor those here named by recommitting ourselves and our lives to live in solidarity with all our siblings in the human family who face violence because of who they are. I invite us into a time of prayer with words written by one of our transgender UU ministers, Sunshine Wolf. The prayer will be followed by a few moments of silence. Spirit of life and spirit of love, on this Transgender Day of Remembrance, we remember those who have been murdered for being who they are, those who face violence on a daily basis, those who have lost loved ones, and those who worry for loved ones. May we come to a time when we cease to shame children around gender roles and expression, where we allow for freedom and exploration of identity and expression, and to a world that operates from love, especially when things are difficult and confusing. May all those who live with the threat of violence find support, strength, community, hope, and safety from violence. Let us keep silence. Amen.
Hello, it's I, River again. I'm sorry, if I seem in a much lower mood, that made me cry. I have a reflection, a poem on my trans identity that I wrote. It's just called Reflection on Trans Identity. Sometimes I am a man, a featherless biped, real as the man in the moon, but sometimes I just am masculine, like a boat is she, like a cat is he. You call me such, but it does not define me. Sometimes masculinity is a restriction to be fought, a boundary to be crossed, a line worth pushing to the limit. Sometimes femininity suits me better. But I am never a woman, never been a woman. I can look like one, act like one, pretend in convincing and conniving manners to put on a show to fool you all, but it's just drag, just a mask, just something I take off at the end of the night. Gender is real, but it isn't. It's something made up to put you in a box, and I take the box, unfold it, wrap it around me like a dress, and go jumping in puddles until the cardboard is just wet paper. A paper mache of the perfect man. It's a performance, a game, it's a show I put on, but it's just for me. All of it to entertain myself, all of it for my own good, nobody else. A Muppet controlled by my own hand, a Muppet that is me. For being trans renders me a creator among creation. I, trans, creator among creation.
Hello, I'm Colin Garrett, and I use he, him pronouns. When I was younger, I spent a lot of time looking at my face in the mirror. And this is kind of a cliche that cis people understand about trans people. You've seen movies of a person staring at the mirror. It's very sad. Maybe they're crying or doing something dramatic, like shaving their head. That's not really how I felt, though. It was more that the face I saw wasn't really recognizable as my own, and I couldn't put a finger on why. The mid-range details were fine. There's my nose, those are my eyes. It looks fine. But zooming out, looking at my whole face, it was like these pieces didn't actually come together in a way that made sense. It was a familiar face. It was the face I recognized as my own, but it was still uncanny and did not feel like my own. It felt like someone else's impression of what my face was supposed to look like. On more than one occasion, I exited a public bathroom stall and had this moment of, oh, is that what my face looks like? While walking to the sink. Taking pictures was terrible. Like, I had to remind myself to smile and concentrate on making my mouth form the right shape. Of course, I never liked the way they came out. The problem, I think, was of trying to hold two incompatible ideas at the same time. This is a picture of me, and this is a picture of a girl or a woman. Some of my favorite photos, though, are from when I was a kid. I have enough distance from them now that I can just see that was me and that was a boy. And I'm honestly kind of surprised that anyone can look at a picture of me from elementary school with my bowl cut and goofy grin and see a girl. I started taking testosterone, or T, in April 2019. And you can't really know what you'll look like after enough time on T. There are these broad guidelines. Most people start growing facial hair between 6 months and 3 years. Most people see some hair loss after about a year. How much? Who knows? You can probably look to a parent or a sibling and guess you'll look more like them. So there's this kind of risk. I want to be in control and to have autonomy over how I look and am perceived by others. And I can do this by stabbing myself in the belly once a week for a couple of years, and I'll probably slowly come to look even more like my dad. Emily Vanderwerf, talking about her transition, mentions just how slow this process can be. Quote, when you see the same face in the mirror every day, it's like watching the hour hand on a clock. You know it's moving, yet you do not see it move, end quote. At some point in the past year or so, I've noticed that my face finally looks like my own. There's no more double takes. While out hiking with friends recently, we stopped to take pictures at the top of a ridge. I felt relaxed and happy, enjoying the fresh air and good company. Later, sharing the pictures we'd taken, one of my friends said, "Colin, you look so happy. I've never seen you smile like that before." And it's just really nice to have that validated. These days, when I look in the mirror or the Zoom preview, I often feel gratitude. I feel a link to those who traveled this road before me. I'm grateful for their persistence. I feel so lucky to live in a time and place and to have the resources that when I look in the mirror, I no longer see a stranger, just myself.
Good morning. I'm Victoria Harris, and my pronouns are she, her. The title of my reflection is called Shoulda, Coulda, Woulda. I was assigned female upon my birth in October of 1951. It was a really good year. It did not take too many years before it was evident that I wanted to play with boy toys. I did not want to be a girl. Something felt so wrong. In fact, I thought I was a boy and said so out loud. But yet, I was referred to as a tomboy. I cried when my mother put a petticoat on me. Anybody remember those? Fortunately, she was fairly tolerant, particularly of me wearing my baseball cap most days and taking it off of me after I fell asleep at night. I felt like life wasn't fair, but I wasn't sure exactly what it was. Being a mostly happy child, I soon realized as I was heading to junior high school that nobody really liked different. And I wanted to be popular. I wanted to go to the parties. I wanted to be part of the mainstream. So I got with the program. However, I knew I liked girls. And what kind of person likes their own same-sex friends more than the obvious opposite sex? And River, this is for you. I had to wear a dress to school, grades 1 through 12. It killed me. But I accepted it as a fact of life because no matter how angry it made me, it was just sort of the way it was. No known options. Again, I wanted to have friends and I wanted to be a well-liked student at my school. So I played the game. At about age 15, I finally found a participant. Oh boy, she lived right up the street from me. My already burgeoning libido kicked in and I thought, this is it. I would have loved to have had a hormone analysis at that time, betting that my testosterone values must have been high and maybe still are. Because this is a reflection and not a sermon, I'm going to cut to the chase. In reality, I was probably a trans kid with no education or knowledge about sexuality. But then, what did we expect? It was the 50s in the South, Memphis, Tennessee. Growing up in a homosexual world, I was called butch as opposed to femme. Old terms. The current terms might be non-binary, genderqueer, etc. But nowadays, I refer to myself, and mostly to myself, as a female with a mostly male gender role who is attracted to mostly feminine women, which is so complicated. So I usually just say, I'm gay. That's my umbrella word. It's seemingly a happy word, and it's the one that Ellen DeGeneres uses. Do we think it's a coincidence that I chose drums as my instrument? Those of you who know me as a drummer, girls always seem to go for the drummer. So demi-guy or demi-boy, demi-guy is a term that I've recently found that seems to fit me. You'll have to Google it. Demi-boy, demi-guy. The term lesbian just does not fit me for some reason. And after all, I do still keep a billfold in my back pocket. Here's the bottom line. Don't be fooled by this little bit of makeup that I wear for vanity's sake and the earrings. I'm all guy. And never, ever be fooled by the cover of the book. In summary, shoulda, coulda, woulda. In 2021, kids and adults have choices, though often difficult and expensive. I settled, and I'm okay. By giving this talk today, obviously, I don't have to settle, but I did, and I'm okay.
Thank you, River, Colin, and Victoria for those stories. Our closing song is by singer, songwriter, and activist Holly Near. This song was written in 1978 as protests for gay rights grew, before people understood the breadth of identities under the LGBTQIA umbrella. And at a concert in 2017, Holly addressed the audience and invited us into a more inclusive fifth verse. We are all in this together. And these are the lyrics we sing here in Nashville. Won't you join voices from your choir in singing, "We are a gentle, angry people."
We are gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are land of many flowers, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are land of many flowers, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are all in this together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are all in this together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives.
Won't you join me in the chalice extinguishing written by Elizabeth Sale Jones? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
As we go forth into this day, may we move with the courage of our convictions and continue the work of justice. May we be blessed with moments of grace and beauty and a grateful heart to receive them. This service has ended. May our service to the world continue. Go in love, go in peace.